Imagine a world before factories, cars, electricity, and modern machines. Most people worked on farms, clothes were made by hand, goods moved slowly by horse and sailing ship. Then, in the 18th century, something extraordinary happened. In Britain, machines began replacing human muscle, steam engines started powering factories. Coal-fueled massive industries, railways, connected cities, and production exploded. Within just a few generations, Britain transformed from a largely agricultural society into the world's first industrial superpower. But why did the Industrial Revolution begin in Britain? Why there and not France, China, or another powerful civilization? The answer lies in a unique combination of coal, capital, technology, geography, trade, and human ambition. Introduction: the Industrial Revolution was one of the greatest turning points in human history. Before it began, most products were made by hand in small workshops or homes. But during the 18th and 19th centuries, production began moving into factories filled with machines. This changed almost everything: the way people worked, the way goods were produced, the way cities grew, and even the way people traveled. Britain became the starting point of this transformation, and the effects would eventually spread across the entire world. Why Britain? Britain had several advantages that came together at exactly the right moment. First, it had large reserves of coal. Coal was one of the most important resources of the Industrial Revolution. It provided the energy needed to power steam engines, factories, furnaces, and transportation. Britain also had iron ore, which was essential for building machines, tools, bridges, railways, and engines. But natural resources alone were not enough. Britain also had a growing population, expanding cities, wealthy investors, and a culture of experimentation. Together, these advantages created the perfect environment for industrialization. Trade, capital, and the British Empire. Britain had become a major global trading power. Its merchant ships traveled across the oceans, connecting British ports with markets around the world. Trade created enormous wealth. That wealth could then be invested in factories, mines, canals, machines, and new businesses. Banks and financial institutions also helped entrepreneurs borrow money and invest in new ideas. Britain's expanding overseas trade provided access to raw materials and markets for British products. This created a powerful cycle. Trade created wealth, wealth funded invention, invention increased production, and increased production expanded trade even further. The steam engine. One invention became the symbol of the Industrial Revolution. The steam engine. Early, steam engines were used to pump water from coal mines, but engineers continued improving the technology. James Watt made major improvements to the steam engine, making it more efficient and useful for industry. Soon, steam power began driving machinery in factories. It powered pumps, machines, ships, and eventually locomotives. For the first time, humans had a powerful source of energy that was not dependent on wind, water, or animal strength. The age of mechanical power had begun. The textile revolution. The textile industry became one of the first major industries to be transformed by machines. New inventions dramatically increased the speed of spinning and weaving. Factories could now produce huge quantities of cloth, far faster than traditional handworkers. Large textile mills appeared across Britain, especially in areas with access to coal, water, and transportation. The factory system changed the nature of work. Instead of producing goods at home, thousands of people began working inside large industrial buildings. This created jobs and increased production, but it also created harsh working conditions for many workers. Railways and the age of transportation. As industry expanded, Britain needed faster ways to move coal, raw materials, and finished products. The answer was the railway. Steam locomotives transformed transportation. Goods that once took days or weeks to travel could now move much faster. Cities became connected. Markets expanded. People could travel farther than ever before. Railways also created new industries, including steel, engineering, coal mining, and construction. The Industrial Revolution was no longer just about factories. It was becoming an entire economic system. The rise of industrial cities. Factories attracted millions of people from the countryside. They moved to cities searching for work. Places such as Manchester, Birmingham, and Liverpool grew rapidly. But this rapid growth came with serious problems. Many workers lived in overcrowded neighborhoods. Factories could be dangerous, and working hours were often extremely long. Even children were employed in some industries. Over time, workers began demanding better conditions, higher wages, and legal protections. The Industrial Revolution created incredible wealth, but that wealth was not distributed equally. How Britain changed the world. Britain's industrial transformation eventually spread across Europe, North America, and beyond. Other countries began building their own factories, railways, mines, and industries. Industrialization changed military power, global trade, cities, science, and everyday life. The modern world was beginning to take shape. The Industrial Revolution created both extraordinary progress and serious social challenges. It increased production and wealth, but also created pollution, inequality, and difficult working conditions. Its legacy remains visible in almost every modern economy. Conclusion: Britain did not start the Industrial Revolution because of one single invention. It happened because several powerful forces came together. Coal provided energy, iron provided materials, trade created wealth, banks provided investment, inventors created machines, and Britain's geography, institutions, and global connections helped these innovations spread. The result was a transformation unlike anything humanity had ever experienced. In just a few generations, Britain helped move the world from an age of farms and handmade goods into the age of factories, machines, and modern industry. The Industrial Revolution began in Britain, but its impact changed the entire planet. Call to action. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more fascinating documentaries about world history, technology, empires, and the events that shaped our modern world. Question of the day: which invention do you think was the most important part of the Industrial Revolution? The steam engine, the factory, or the railway? Share your answer in the comments, and I'll see you in the next documentary.